So today's lesson is going to be on literary adaptations. This is just one example of what you can do with an adaptation. They can come from any type of media, such as films, TV shows, books, poems, songs, one of your own pieces, and you can even write an adaptation from an adaptation. The possibilities are literally endless. So as an example, I'm going to be using The Wolf of Wall Street. As you can see here, I have the original literary source information. The screenplay was written by Terrence Winter, and the book was written by Jordan Belfort himself. It was a biography. It was directed by Martin Scorsese. The title is obviously The Wolf of Wall Street. The publication year was 2013 for the film and 2007 for the book, and it was published in the United States. It is a drama, documentary slash biography, and a comedy. And the medium is obviously a film slash novel. So I created a erasure poem, which we'll take a look at in a minute. The next thing we want to focus on is the audience and who we're writing our adaptation for. So in this case, my target audience is for anyone interested in poetry, drama, or biographical stories. And in relation to the original text, it was just for anyone wanting to read more into The Wolf of Wall Street or to see a new light that maybe they hadn't thought of before. Techniques are very important when we're looking at adaptations and also when we're creating adaptations. So the main use of techniques are adding, subtracting, and shifting the setting. So for my case, my example, we are adding new ideas to the script that we wouldn't have seen or acknowledged before. We're subtracting, so erasure poems are taking away all the words in the script or in the poem or the novel, any part of the original that you don't see potential in having a meaning in your own poem, just take out. And lastly, we have shifting, which is shifting the setting of the poem. I really didn't feel like I had a lot of shift in my poem just because I was taking things away more so than adding, especially when it came to the setting. The last thing I really wanted to hit on before we look at the erasure poem and my meanings behind it was the purpose and technique of erasure poems in general. So erasure poems, as I said, are poems where unwanted parts of the text are removed and we focus on words and ideas that only the reader really wants to focus on. And the purpose is kind of pulling certain words to assist in highlighting a deeper meaning to the script. And my erasure poem specifically was to bring attention to the glorified lifestyle of working on Wall Street and how grueling it can really be. A lot of people think that it's just making a lot of money and having this amazing life where you travel all the time, but really it's very exhausting and there's not much time for a social life outside of work or the office. And I think that's just something that a lot of people don't consider when they think about working on Wall Street. Finally, we get to take a look at my erasure poem and connections to the original and my thoughts and ideas on how they connect. So I printed the script, and from that I took words and phrases that I thought would make a good poem, or a good set of phrases more so than a poem, just because I didn't feel like it ran together the way that a poem should. So my first phrase was, "I don't care if nobody knows you break." So in the script, this is when Mark Hanna is giving Jordan tips on how to survive on Wall Street and an opportunity to voice what he might really be feeling on the inside. He's not as excited as he sounds for Jordan and this job that he has before him. My next phrase was, "I highly recommend a fresh veil of ways." This was in the same part of the script as the one before. And again, I saw Mark subconsciously saying that Jordan's life before Wall Street doesn't matter anymore, and he needs to introduce new ways to counterpart his new career and his new life, being a big shot on Wall Street. Next I have, "It was here with the future master of the universe we see chaos, panic, screaming. They call it silence." So Jordan's a young stockbroker with the world at his feet, and nobody really knows what he's capable of or what he was going to turn into. And I kind of saw this as silence before the storm. Everyone just kind of assuming that he wouldn't really go far, especially with the stock market going down. And little did they know that he was going to be this big, narcissistic, powerful man one day. Continuing on with my erasure poem or phrases, Pursuing too much that doesn't matter. So I saw this as a subtract or a shift, as a change from just subtraction. This conversation happened while they were in Teresa's apartment talking about Jordan's recent loss of a job. Teresa is so willing to step up and work more so that the both of them can be stable and not have to worry about anything. And this brings attention to the idea that we all spend, in modern day, we all spend so much time on things that are irrelevant to others, ourselves, currently and in the future, that we forget to pay attention to the little things, such as relationships or family, and not even those things in general, but just the bigger idea and the relationship between one person and another, because we spend so much time working and trying to be experienced and productive that we often forget what we're doing. And finally, my last phrase was misfit, loud, obnoxious modern cave people looking for us in ratty screams. I felt that this was a shift straight to modern day because it wasn't really related to the text per se. But this is how I feel the older generation looks at us, or my own, kind of as lost baby birds begging for help because of wisdom and age, when in reality, we don't really need them that much. It's kind of just them being old and senile that they assume we need help. And I think this is with every generation, not just the older generation of my own, but I assume one that's felt by every young generation. So, to summarize, with the final draft, I don't care if nobody knows you break. I highly recommend A Fresh Veil of Ways. It was there with the future master of the universe. We see chaos, panic, screaming. They call it silence. Pursuing too much that doesn't matter. Misfit, loud, obnoxious modern cave people looking for us in ratty screams. So I hope that you learned something from this little lesson. Hopefully you feel motivated to go write your own adaptation. Just keep these things in mind as you move through it and be creative.